What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Shane Rowe. Now, guys, we won against Brentford in extra time, Fergie time. Yeah! No, for real. We won the game 2-1 in extra time against Brentford. And guys, I know it wasn't the best of games, but in the end, we did get the win, and the win in the end is what matters. We're gonna dig through the rubble, and we're gonna see what we've learned, what we could have done better, what we just gotta come to terms with. But all in all, I gotta say, on one hand, we're still having problems scoring goals. It took us 93 minutes to score a goal. On the other hand, you can say, well, his substitutions, Ten Hag's substitutions did well. Obviously, Scott McTominay scored 2 goals for us in 4 minutes. So as far as the lineup goes, we played at home against Brentford, and this was the closest of a lineup that I would have liked to have probably seen, to be honest with you. Lindelof played out on the left back role, and with all the injury that we've had, you couldn't expect anything better than that, which I was happy with that, as opposed to Amrabat being in the left back position. Speaking of Amrabat, he finally got to play inside the midfield with Casemiro, which was decent enough, and we'll talk about that a bit more. Up front, we started Mount on the right side wing, which I'd rather see him start out on the wing and not Bruno. I don't know how you guys feel. Please let me know what you think Bruno's best position is. But for me, he has to play the number 10 role behind the striker. There's no point in putting him out on the wide, any wide position. There's no point in putting him out there. I don't believe he's very good doing it. And then Rashford was out on the left side, and we'll talk about all of this coming right now. But overall, I think the team did decently enough. With all due respect to Brentford, you expect us to be beating them, but no team in the Premier League is an easy team, and no game in the Premier League is an easy game. So, and it took us 93 minutes to actually score a goal, 94 minutes to actually score a goal. So kudos to them. But in the end, the team did well, the team did score, and after we've dug through the rubbles, per se, myself, these are the 5 things that we've gathered from the Brentford game. Now, these are just my 5, and please let me know how you guys agree or disagree. We're all here to talk about it. So, number 5, Scott McTominay is worth 40 million euros. That he is an elite level substitute. And I'm sure that's the thing, man. Not every player can come on and does what he does. And he's done it on multiple occasions. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. But Scotty's probably got a lot of goals for us, more than most in the team right now, with the exception of Rashford. But Scott McTominay has quite a few goals for us in the last few seasons. And I've said in the first part of the season, even in the preseason, I said I wanted to keep McTominay because he's good for 1 or 2 goals, especially when he comes off the bench. And anyone coming off the bench with such an impact that he has, you definitely have to keep him around. You guys let me know if you still think you want to get rid of him next summer, or you want to loan him out in January. I think Scotty needs to stick around for the long term. He still gets his international call-up, and he still gets his goals. So for me, and whoever told Scotty that he wasn't a striker, if that man still has a job, he needs to be fired. Because Scotty, you can score goals. You need to get in the box, advance a bit more. Your distribution and ball handling just needs to be a bit better, but you score goals, my man, so keep it up. Number 4, there might be hope for Harry. And listen, I am the first one to tell you that I called for Harry to be sold. And if the consistency level doesn't stay the same, I'm going to call for Harry to be sold again in January. But all credit being due where credit is due. Had a really, really good game. And I think this is the second game in a row he's played for us, or had a really good game in a row for us. He provided the assist for McTominay's second goal. And again, I'm not saying that this is because it's Brentford and he should be having these games, because no game in the Premier League is an easy game. So I respect the fact that he showed up and he really, really did handle himself in the defense. Maybe taking the captain off of him and giving him a few games outside of the limelight has done good for him. So whatever he's doing in training, keep it up, Harry. As a team, we got to support each other. So let him do his thing. Number 3, guys, I hate to say this because I'm the biggest fan of Casemiro, but what a difference a year can make. And his legs just doesn't seem to be there anymore. After he was subbed off and Amrabat kind of switched into that CDM role, the team just looked a bit more balanced. It looked a bit more controlled. It looked like we can... I think sometimes the offense gets worried because they have to trap back if they know the midfield is going to lose the ball. And like I said, in the midfield, we just play too slow sometimes and it's so predictable. And last year, Casemiro seemed like he came in and he really, really fixed the problem for us. But this year, you know, he's just looking a bit vulnerable, time a bit suspect. I know he scored 4 goals for us, but at the same time, I think he's also kind of a bit of a liability. Maybe after the international break, with Maino coming back, you might see the Maino Amrabat midfield every now and then. Again, with Casemiro getting cards and his disciplinary record not being the best, you might have to see that transition of the midfield already. But we also need to bring the age down in our midfield. So we just have to face it that Casemiro, as good as he is, he's not the same player that he was, and what a difference a year does make. Maybe, I don't know at United, but maybe he can transition into a centre-back. There's other players have done this before, but maybe he can transition himself into a centre-back. He does have the physicality and he has the defensive mentality and mindset to do the job. So at some point in his career, this season, as early as this season, or maybe even next season, he might have to start transitioning himself into being more of a centre-back than a CDM, especially a lone single pivot CDM. Number 2, guys, and this hurts me as much as it's going to hurt the team, but I think it is time that we dropped Rashford. Specifically Rashford, and I don't want to single Rashford out, but what I'm trying to say is I don't think he's playing very well, and I don't think keep playing him is going to help him. I think what we need to do is we need to transition or have him transition off the bench into an impact, just for like a couple of games, not as turn him into an impact sub, but have him play the impact sub role for at least the next few games. 1, to clear his head. 2, get him off the bench fresh. 3, Garnacho has been playing very well, and I think it's time that he does get his start. And just simply the fact that there's no point in forcing Rashford in being good, right? Give him a break. Maybe he's tired. We've done breaks with all these other players. We haven't done it with Rashford for some reason. And I get why you can't really do it with Onana, because once you pull him out, it's going to be hard for him to come back into the goal. So you kind of got to like let him work through this period. But as far as a winger goes and an outfield player, especially one in the position and with the expectation of Rashford, I think it only would help Rashford and in turn help the team if we just get him out of the starting lineup for a few games, have Garnacho really get a few games to start, see if he's really got what it takes to be the starter, right? So, because he's earned it to have a look. And I don't see too much of a disadvantage of having Rashford come on in the 60, 65 minute and just having a go at defenders. You know he's going to be more determined to stake his claim back for the position. So I think it's time to drop Rashford for the team's own good. There, I said it. Drop Rashford. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. This is the number one thing I have noticed and come to the conclusion of. From the Brentford game, we won 2-1 with a defense that we put together that day. I don't think Johnny Evans, Lindelof, Delot, and Maguire ever played in a defense together, right? Amrabat finally played in the midfield, and Mount is still trying to figure out where Mount's position is in the team. And Højlund, as good and no complaints as for Højlund, he still got to gel into the team. So my number one overall observation is that with everything that's going on, there is a lot the manager is dealing with. So we really should, instead of trying to tear down the manager or tear down the team, maybe he sees this video, maybe someone he knows sees this video, and we might give him an idea or just a support. But as far as overly criticizing, the club is in probably the worst state it's ever been since I can remember. From a media point of view, we're getting hit left and right with all bad media coverage. You have the club still, who's going to buy the club? Is the club going to be sold? Injuries left and right. There is Anthony, the manager is dealing with. There's Mason Greenwood that's just been kind of like, you know, put to the side for now, but that's going to come back to have to be dealt with. And we have Sancho and the manager. So there's a lot going on at United. Whether this is all the manager's fault, no, it's definitely not all it's definitely not all the manager's fault. So I think he's doing the best he can with what he has. And again, especially with the defense being as patched together as it is, I would expect and hope that there is a plan for this for at least January. But I think that we still need to hold steadfast and support the team, but especially support the manager. I still believe that Ten Hag is the right man for the job, and he still deserves our support. So these are my 5 things that I have noticed from the last game against Brentford. Let me know if there's anything you guys may have thought of. Comment down below. But, you know, we'll leave it there for now. We did get the win. That's the most important thing. We have the international breaks coming up. And after the international break, we should be having some players coming back. So let's see if we can actually start the season, you know, get some real points on the board, some real results, and some real points on the board, and some real results. So we'll leave it there for today, guys. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you've been rocking with your boy this long, I really do appreciate you. So God bless you, and GGMU. Peace.